Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to gather a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. And it all comes down to one thing, a deep understanding of human motivation, why people do what they do, and the forces that drive them. To gain that understanding, I am mining the intersection of psychology, theology, and philosophy to make you a better writer. This is episode 54, and its title is Sheila's Software Had a Little Bug. How is Sheila feeling? We're probably going to play a little bit of a game tonight. We've done all of this work around naming character traits and classifying character traits and coming to decisions about how to decide which character traits are appropriate. But the whole point of dealing with character traits is so that we can create living characters for our readers so that our stories can take our readers on an emotional journey. So the whole point of these character traits is that they represent struggles that are common to all of us. And so if we sketch out the scene or the situation, our readers ought to be able to have emotional response, can be counted on to have some kind of an emotional response. And we can't automatically predict what their emotional response is, but it will inevitably be genuine because it's their response. And that is so different from the concept of describing an emotion, from saying an emotion took place like this and it had this symptom and that symptom, and you could describe it in this way or that way, and how do you describe it if it's internal? What the best you can hope for under a circumstance like that is that you would do an accurate job of conveying to your reader what your character was feeling. There are mirror neurons, lots of them in our brain, and there's a pretty decent chance that our reader will pick up on the feelings of our character if we do that because of empathy. But it's a little bit shallower because it's more relating to another individual, to do something, a tragic situation, for example. Suppose you're going into the grocery store. You got your list in hand, your mind is filled with what you need to get. You don't notice that there's an ice patch on the sidewalk. Whoosh! Boom! Before you know it, your nose is meeting the pavement. Yipes! Now, same scene, put yourself in a slightly different situation. You're coming out of the supermarket, you've got your bags packed in your cart, and you're ready to wheel it out into the parking lot. You see a woman coming towards the grocery store. She's looking at her list. Oh no, you see a patch of ice right in her path and she's not looking. She falls. Those are both very emotional situations, but you've got a different, what do they call a point of view? Yeah, minor point of view difference. One of them's got the bloody nose. The other doesn't. The other is horrified and rushes to her aid, but doesn't have the bloody nose. So when we can describe what's going on in the scene in such a way that our reader can place themselves into the scene and have their own emotional response to the scene without us telling them what that emotional response ought to be, then a reader has a deeper involvement. The reader has the bloody nose. So this is a little exercise playing around with us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to describe one of my favorite little scenarios on a single 4x6 card. And this time, you can play with naming the character traits that are involved in the scene. There's several of them involved very clearly. But what I want you to do more than that is just put yourself in Sheila's place and think a little bit about how might Sheila be feeling? How might she have felt at different points in the story? Because the story takes place over a little bit of a timeline, even though it's on one 4x6 file card. But how did she feel as that situation evolved? Because there's a lot of different ways you could play that story depending on who she is and how she normally reacts. So this is very open-ended. So there's no one right answer. But I want to give this to you because I want to give you the idea of putting a scene out there and letting your reader have their own emotional experience. So this is an experiment. So let me know in the comments if this works for you and what you think is going on. How is Sheila feeling? Robert had loaded the 6 boxes that missed the FedEx pickup into his own car and headed across town to where the FedEx drop-off window would still be open for another 3/4 of an hour. Sheila sighed deeply. The code she thought she had tested thoroughly had a minor bug that caused the pick ticket for the order to be out of sync with the order it was supposed to align to. It was a stupid little bug. Very, 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 very stupid. There was a simple variable that she set to 0, but she was supposed to have set it to 1. So guess what? The orders and the pick tickets were just slightly off by 1. They had all the stuff gathered from the warehouse. They had the right list of stuff with the stuff that went there. Unfortunately, it went to the next order over, was the order that was supposed to get the stuff. Well, it took Sheila 2 minutes to fix her code. Duck soup, change a 0 to a 1 and recompile. But it took them 2 hours of work in the warehouse to deal with the mess. How is Sheila feeling? Let me know in the comments. See you tomorrow.